In the eastern part of Ghana, not far from the border with Togo, there is a quiet town called Nwanta. For many years, people there lived simple lives. They farmed their land, raised goats and chickens, and fetched water from the stream. Every morning, the sound of children laughing could be heard, and every evening, people gathered to share stories under the moonlight. Life in Nwanta was peaceful, until one night changed everything. It was the night the whole village disappeared. No one knows the exact day it began. But people from nearby villages said that the last time they saw the villagers of Nwanta was a Friday afternoon. Traders who passed through said they stopped to buy food that day. Everything looked normal, people cooking, children playing, men returning from the farm. Nothing seemed strange. But by the next morning, Nwanta was silent. No voices. No movement. No smoke from cooking fires. It was as if the entire village had vanished into the air. When the first travelers arrived that Saturday morning, they thought everyone was still asleep. They called out, but no one answered. The goats and chickens were still in their pens, hungry and crying. Cooking pots were left outside with food still inside. Clothes hung on lines. Doors were open, but no one was inside. Not a single person, not even the village chief. The travelers ran back to the next community to tell the elders. Soon, a group of men gathered and returned to Nwanta to see for themselves. They searched every house, every corner of the village. They found no signs of struggle, no blood, no broken things, no footprints leading away. It looked as if people simply walked away and vanished. The police were called from the nearest town. They came the next day to start an investigation. At first, they thought the villagers might have moved because of danger, maybe a disease outbreak, a wild animal attack, or some form of conflict. But there was no sign of any of that. The farms were untouched. The wells still had clean water. And none of the nearby villages had seen a large group of people traveling through. The police made calls to hospitals and other districts, but no one had seen any of the missing villagers. It was like they never existed. Weeks passed. Search teams came with dogs and drones, looking for footprints, camps, or anything that could explain where they went. Nothing was found. Even the forest paths showed no trace of movement. Some of the searchers said the air around Nwanta felt strange, too quiet, too heavy. At night, they said it felt like the village was watching them. Some officers refused to sleep there. Others believed something spiritual had happened. The government called for more investigations. They collected old village records. There were more than 350 people living there, men, women, children, and elders. Every single one of them gone. Not a single body was ever found. Not a single person was ever seen again. Months later, stories began to spread. People from nearby villages claimed they heard drums coming from Nwanta at night, even though no one lived there. Hunters said they saw lights moving between the trees. A few people swore they saw shadows of people walking in silence, disappearing when they tried to follow. But no evidence was ever captured. Some elders said the land had been cursed long ago. They believed Nwanta was built on an old burial ground from a forgotten tribe. Others believed the villagers might have angered something, a spirit or a god that demanded sacrifice. One old woman from a nearby village said she warned them weeks before the disappearance. She claimed she saw smoke rising from the forest at night, in the shape of a human face. But nobody listened to her. Still, others had a more scientific explanation. They said maybe the villagers drank contaminated water that caused hallucinations. Or maybe they fled secretly because of a crime or a threat that no one knew about. But even these ideas didn't make sense. How could 350 people disappear without leaving a single trace, or a single clue? Years have passed, but no one lives in Nwanta anymore. The land has returned to silence. Nature has taken over the old houses. The wind passes through broken roofs, and grass grows where people once sat and laughed. Travelers who go near the place say birds never sing there. Even hunters avoid it. To this day, no one knows what really happened to the villagers of Nwanta. No remains, no proof, no answers. Some people believe they were taken by something not of this world. Others think the truth is hidden by someone powerful. But one thing is certain. On that night, something happened in that small Ghanaian village that no one can explain. And the mystery of Nkwanta remains one of the strangest disappearances in African history. If you ever travel through the eastern side of Ghana and you see a small, silent place with empty huts and overgrown farms, don't stop to rest there. Because in Nkwanta, the wind still carries the whispers of the people who vanished. And some say, if you listen closely, you can still hear them calling for